Hello, welcome to a special series of Art Pays Me interviews with the winners of the 2024 Creative Nova Scotia Awards. Presented annually by Arts Nova Scotia and the Creative Nova Scotia Leadership Council, these awards celebrate artistic excellence across Mi'kmaq. Award categories are as follows: Creative Community Impact, Prix Grand Prix, Established Artist, Emerging Artist, Black Artist, Indigenous Artist, and finally the Portia White Prize that is given to a person who has made outstanding and significant contributions to Nova Scotia's creative community over a sustained career, much like the incredible woman that the award is named after. The winner will also choose an emerging artist or cultural organization that they feel deserve recognition. Collectively, the awards are worth $75,000. Visit artsns.ca to nominate your favorite Nova Scotia artist or nominate yourself. This series would not be possible without the fantastic production work of Heist and Kiki Beats. On this episode, I chat with Indigenous Artist Recognition Award winner Stephanie Joline. This is the second time she's been on the show, and like I said, it feels like we're buds. We talk about imposter syndrome and sometimes feeling like outsiders, and maybe we aren't deserving of some things, but I think it's an interesting chat that a lot of people will relate to, and Steph is an amazing person and a lot of fun. So thank you for welcoming us into your space. As a plant daddy, I'm like swooning over these plants all around us. It's magic. It's wonderful.
Thank you.
Before we get into the details and stuff, can you state your name, your pronouns, and your artistic medium?
Yes, I am Stephanie Joline. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a filmmaker.
Okay, is it Joline like French or Joline like because someone likes Dolly Parton in your family?
Joline like French. So this is a very boring story, but I've had 3 legal names in my whole life. I was born Stephanie Joline d'Entremont. My middle name's Joline.
Yeah.
My dad's French, so he picked the middle name.
Okay.
And then I got married and I changed my name to Stephanie Joline Clattenburg.
Okay.
And then after I got divorced, I didn't want to go back to my original name, but it felt weird to keep my husband's name because we weren't together anymore. And so I just dropped it and I legally made my middle name my last name.
I didn't know
so
that.
So now my name is Stephanie Joline and I don't have a middle name.
Oh, I literally thought you just like did that to like be cool, like I'm just Stephanie.
Yeah, most people think like that's my Instagram handle or something, but my name is actually Clattenburg. But no, I legally changed it. It's really a headache to change your name though. I wouldn't. Don't do it unless you have to.
Yeah.
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 Boring. We don't have to keep that in.
So, is there a moment in your life where you realize like, what would you like a filmmaker, right? You consider yourself that. So, is there a moment when you realize that that's it?
No, I've always been creative. I feel like I've always identified as an artist.
Yeah.
As a kid, you know, as most kids I think do, it's like drawing and coloring, and I used to make little books and like staple the books together and then have little drawings and like write little stories about my friends and like be creative and have those creative outlets. And then I used to take painting classes and things. Mm-hmm. And then I think just being creative felt like something that I didn't know how not to be creative. It just was something that existed along like inside me all the time, but I don't think I really had a plan for my life. So I was not one of these kids that was like, when I grow up I'm going to be and then followed through with the thing.
Yeah. I
was lucky enough to have parents that didn't really push me in any direction, and so school wasn't a huge priority.
Yeah.
So there was nobody pushing me to go to university or figure out what I wanted to do. So as a teenager I was just like, my plan was to grow up to be a rock star. That was literally my plan.
I forgot about that part. Yes.
I was like, I'm going to grow up to be a rock star. End of plan. I mean, that would just happen. The problem was I didn't know how to play any instruments or sing. But I dressed kind of punk rock, so I guess that was it. But I did eventually learn how to play the drums and play music in a band. And then through that process, I started making music videos for the band I was in. Because this was at a time, and I'm dating myself a little bit here, but this was at a time when not everybody, like there was no smartphones yet.
Yeah.
So I my job was shooting and editing the news for CBC. So I knew how to use the camera and how to edit at a time that not everybody knew that. So I would be like, well, this is this little band I'm playing in. We don't have any money. Yeah. I'll make our music videos for like no budget. But then through that process, I found the storytelling in visual form really fun. So from there, making a few more music videos, making music videos for my friends' bands, showing up at their concerts and filming them on my little camcorder, editing that together, and then started making short films with dialogue and actors and documentaries and so on and so on. And now I'm a full-time filmmaker. That's actually my job now. That's like where I make most of my income is film-related things.
It's so funny. There's this podcast I used to listen to a lot, and the host has a punk rock background, and he started in design like that, like doing the flyers and things like that for his band and posters, and he ends up interviewing a lot of people kind of similarly, like, and he noticed this correlation between people who originated in punk rock who like he knows that are like doing film now or doing fashion or doing something else. Like it's something skill set they picked up from that.
Yeah. What is that? I think maybe that's like the creative outlet thing. Or that's, you know what? It's just a theory just popped in my head. I have a theory about this.
Yeah.
Just thought of. If you're kind of punk rock or you're kind of like outside of the norm, but like wants to be outside the norm, because you could choose to show up and dress like a jock and fit in with the whatever the cliques are that are the popular ones. But if you're choosing to show up with like ripped jeans and like a shirt that you put your own slogan on with a marker or whatever, if you're choosing to show up that way, you're probably trying to be a little anti. I don't fit in and I'm different. And so if you're already that type of person where you want to be a little different, I wonder if that's sort of those types of people end up trying to pursue non-traditional lives, like being an artist, for example. Yeah. One of my many theories.
No, I think he kind of like alludes to that too a lot of times with his, like he credits punk rock with so much in terms of that, like even the DIY bit, just like there's just a certain mentality, there's a certain character that comes out of the people that are just like, I'm a rebel, I want to do things a certain way and I don't care. Like
I'm not going to be what you want me to be. I'm going to do my thing or whatever. Yeah.
So, I mean, we talked about what's the driving force behind your work before, and I'm wondering if is it that? Is it rebellion?
I don't know. I mean, I think that the reason I create, the reason I'm a filmmaker, I think is there are many different things, I think. So, one, I don't like committing to long things. The idea of going to a job 9 to 5 every day for the foreseeable future freaks me out. Like, I feel anxiety when I think about that. And I would much rather not know where my next paycheck is coming from.
Interesting.
And have my time and my autonomy to say yes or no to the next gig.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have kids. I don't have parents that depend on me. Like, I'm privileged in the way that I can make those decisions. And I know not everybody can live that way. But I like not knowing what I'm going to be doing next month. Like, that makes me excited. And I know a lot of my friends and peers are like, oh, like I would have a panic attack if I didn't know where my next paycheck was coming from. Right? So those are just different people with different values and feelings. So I think for me, part of it is that I really like deciding what I say yes and no to. And what I create is totally in my control.
Sure.
So I'm good at self-motivation. Like, I don't need someone to say, hey, Steph, that deadline's coming up. Are you going to apply for it? If so, you got to finish your script. Like, I don't need anyone to tell me that. I will I will Google all the grants available. I'll apply to all of them. I'll reach out on my own and say, hey, what do I need? Can you give me feedback? And can I get a letter of support from this person and that person? Like, I'm really good at the self-motivating things. So I want time to be my own. I want to be in control of what I do. I'm good at self-motivation, and I just feel like creating all the time. Like, that's the thing that I want to do the most. So I think maybe all of those reasons together equals I'm a filmmaker.
I just had an epiphany, I think.
About you? Does it sound familiar to you?
I mean, I am pretty self-motivated too, but like you made it sound very simple, like, and it kind of is that simple. Like, apply for all of the things, do the work that you want to do. It's not gonna guarantee. It's no guarantee it's gonna work, but
No. Oh, that's another big thing that it takes to be a filmmaker or to be an artist. Is I'm not afraid of failure and rejection.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are creative, but they're really afraid of failure and rejection.
Yeah.
Don't be an artist then. It's not going to work for you, right? It's going to make you depressed every day if that's the thing that you fear the most. So like, or some people, maybe they're not afraid of rejection, but they're just not self-motivated. So
Yeah.
they're never going to do the applying for the grants. Like, maybe, I think a lot of people have a mixture of different strengths and weaknesses, and mine happen to line up with what works for trying to make a living in the arts in this country.
Right.
But, yeah.
So, one of the things I'm interested in too is, like, your Night Blooms film. That was pretty personal. Like, a lot of it was like you in that film. Do you find that in your work in general, you're like, because I know you say there's things you don't necessarily care about or whatever, but I do see that you are tending to pick projects that have some kind of personal connection to you.
Yeah, I think that's because I got great advice from Andrea Dorfman, local wonderful artist. Love her. She gave me great advice when I took a screenwriting class from hers maybe 15 years ago or something.
Yeah.
And she said, when you're writing, go to a place of shame and write from there. And I was like, oh. And at the time, I had an eating disorder that I had not yet told anyone about my whole life. And I was like, shame, I don't know what. Oh. And I went home and I wrote a script about my eating disorder. That was my first short film. And then suddenly, the shame I had that was connected to this secret I've been holding was just gone. Because I'm like, oh, I'm not afraid someone's going to find out. I just told them.
Yes, yeah.
So with Night Blooms, that was my first feature film. And it's about two teenage girls in the 90s. And it's kind of a grungy, sort of raw coming-of-age story. And one of the teenage girls sleeps with the other one's father. And so we really play with the gray area there of consent, because she's a teenager and he's in his 40s, and so obviously that's not okay for many reasons. But in the story, I mean, she's consenting. She wants to. She's the one who's, initiating it. So I like going into those uncomfortable places because when I was a teenager, I had boyfriends in their 30s and 40s. And that was something that I still to this day, as an adult woman now, if you told me that a 40-year-old's dating a teenage girl, I would be like, that's wrong. There's so many reasons why that's wrong. I am not going to condone that. Yet there's a part of me, the 17-year-old version of me that still exists inside me, is still like, no, I wanted to.
I did that. Yeah.
I don't regret it. And so I don't know how to reconcile those two, the forward-thinking feminist version of me and the 17-year-old girl who was just attracted to older people.
Yeah.
I don't know how to reconcile those two things, and that made me feel a lot of shame for a long time. That made me feel like imposter syndrome and like, what kind of feminist am I if I really feel that way? Don't tell anyone you feel that way.
Yeah.
Don't tell anyone that there is gray area around consent. You can't say that stuff out loud.
Yeah.
And so why not write a film about the thing that I was then feeling the most shame about, which I did. And then after I did it, I'm like, well, there's a shame. The shame just goes away after that. You're not like afraid that someone's going to find out this thing. And then actually more people start saying, like in the case of my eating disorder short, so many people were like, oh, I struggle with eating disorder. And then I go, I wasn't this alone, this like person who was like lonely with the secret. Certainly everyone around me had disordered eating habits. And then with that film Night Blooms, a lot of people were like, oh yeah, that was me as a teenager. I saw myself in that movie. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. So it wasn't me. It's suddenly you're not so lonely and other people can relate and see themselves in it.
And I saw a lot of teenage girls that I knew growing up in that. So it was
in
like...
those environments.
Yeah.
In the 90s too, so it wasn't all on the internet. So
right.
People then get their lives ruined over these like silly things and everybody doing drugs and getting high off.
It's human, right? It's human to struggle with these things. And a lot of times we pretend like things are black and white all the time. It's right and wrong. And
there are rights and wrongs, but like there's like these weird things. Our feelings are still there.
Yeah. This idea that your feelings have to be right.
Yeah.
And if you feel something that's not socially acceptable, don't say it out loud.
Yeah.
Because how dare you? And then suddenly we're all walking around feeling lonely that we're the only ones feeling these things.
Yes.
And really, if you just talk about it and share it, a lot of people are feeling them.
It's not so bad. Yeah.
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 So creating is good for that. Creating is good for making connections.
100%.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, a lot of my work lately has been about that same thing. I think it probably inspired from our first talk. I don't know, but like a lot of my art lately has just been about what I'm ashamed of in some way and putting it out.
Great.
So yeah,
I'm impressed.
I'm just gonna say I'll give you credit for it.
Okay,
You
good.
did that.
I like that. Can I make my own segue into another topic from that topic?
Yeah, go for it.
Speaking of, so one of the next films I'm writing is about a mixed race woman who, like me, has one parent who's white and one parent who's Indigenous.
Okay.
And she doesn't look Indigenous, and she benefits from white privilege every day, and she feels a lot of shame and guilt about that. And where does she fit in with her community? And that's very much my story. I mean, in the story, this girl's in her 20s, and I'm not in my 20s, I wish, but no. So it's not me, but it's, in that way, it's similar, and I feel like I'm now writing that story from a place of, this is the thing that makes me uncomfortable now. Let's write a story about it.
Yeah, and that's where the beauty comes from, right? Like,
well, it feels real, I think.
It's very real.
Even if it's not everyone's experience, it feels like it's someone's experience because the writer or the filmmaker has lived it to a degree.
And even like for me, like talking to lighter skinned black people who are biracial and they're benefiting in some level from that, but feeling uncomfortable with that benefit while still feeling solidarity with or black heritage or whatever. Like there's a lot of layers there.
So many layers.
So
and it all feels very awkward, and nobody wants to talk about it because everyone feels their own version of guilt or shame around the thing that they're going through.
Yeah.
I mean, even this award. I mean, I was over the moon excited to be given this award.
Yeah.
And immediately following the excitement came guilt. Like, I'm being recognized as an Indigenous artist, which I am. There's no debate. I know that different people have different journeys with how they, but like I was born and raised in a family that was very proud of our Indigenous heritage at a time that it wasn't trendy to be. And so I have the family connections, I have all kinds of roots and things I can point to. I've done the DNA test, I know, if someone wanted to call me out, I could give them all kinds of proof.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean I don't feel I do benefit from white privilege. And there are some Indigenous people that don't.
Yeah.
And are those people more deserving of recognition than me? Because did I get the things or have I achieved the things I've done as an artist in my career partially because of my white privilege, partially because XYZ, I could name all the ways that I'm privileged, or is that that always comes with guilt and questioning and this imposter syndrome thing. Yeah. And I've spoken to a few colleagues, Indigenous colleagues, who wrote me lovely letters of support and nominated me for this award. And I was like, thank you, this is amazing. I feel bad. And they're like, don't. I do every time, And then another example, talking about that, and they say, that's me every time. Every time I win something or get a grant or anything, Steph, I feel the same way.
Wow.
And I'm like, really? Oh, okay, so it's not just me, but
yeah. So
humans are complex.
I mean, I'm dealing with that right now. So I just finished this basketball court in Gottingen in Brunswick, and I'm not from that community. And part of the application was expressing your connections to the community. I have connections,
sure,
but I'm not from the community. So I needed the money, I needed the work. It was a dream project for me. And I was excited to get it. And then again, as soon as I got it, I was like, oh man, somebody from the community probably should have got this over me. even though I knew I could knock it out of the park, and there's a certain amount of guilt, and to see that the community accepted me was tough. It was powerful, but like at the same time, I still, even though they've been encouraging, I still have this little piece of me that's like, I have a lot of privilege as a dude that's from away, who's educated, who's got this and that and third. Like, I don't know. It's hard to reconcile, but at the end of the day, we have to do what we have to do, and we have to stand on it and live in it.
Yeah, and isn't it wonderful that we are self-aware enough to know that?
Yes, that's the thing. Yes.
And there are some people that are like, I deserve everything.
Right.
And everything I get is great. Now, you know what? I deserve more than that, and no one else deserves it more than me. And
Correct.
yeah, so if I was going to pick a category, I'd rather be in this category.
Same. I mean, I don't like
humble.
it for... Yeah. It's not great, you know, inside here.
Yeah, but it's always about
But-
balancing it and also being aware that you're not the only one feeling that way.
Yes.
If almost everyone else feels that way, or many other people feel that way,
Yeah.
then it's like, oh, well, that's probably part of the condition of being human, and not, I'm wrong.
Right. And then also, like, keep going, like, don't stop applying for things and trying things, and just because you feel like you have advantages or whatever the case may be too, like,
Yeah.
it's an interesting...
Do you ever, we don't have to keep this in, but do you ever see people get stuff and you go, oh, well, I deserved it more than that person did? I see, like, really privileged people get stuff, and I'm like, they don't even have to work. They have rich parents. Don't give them the grant. Probably should keep that in.
No,
Once in a while, I
happens.
go, okay.
I mean, that's the thing. It happens, and I worry sometimes. Yeah, the perception of what it is for me personally too. Like, but it's at the end of the day, what can you do? But I know what you mean. It's like they didn't need it. I actually need to pay rent with this.
Yeah. It's like I have more privilege than some people. I have less privilege than some people.
privilege.
So where do you
It's a
fall in there?
Correct. It's a skill.
And then how much? It's like, where do you stop?
Yeah, ultimately,
That's
like,
factor.
what I try to do is, like, celebrate and then say, okay, noted, boom. Because, like you, I faced a lot of rejection this year. And when I got that thing, I was almost, like, in shock.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of rejection I faced. So
You were like, finally. Did it feel like finally?
It was like, yes. I was like, yeah. I got something. But then, of course, the shame kicked in. But still, it was like, it did feel like a vindication after, like, all this rejection of, like, okay, so there's a reason why we keep applying, why we keep going. You're not supposed to get everything. You're not going to get everything.
Yeah, that's true.
So, anyway.
Yeah. So most of the time when I don't get something, I feel bad and relieved.
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks. I really wanted that. Oh, well, I don't. At least I don't have to feel guilty today.
Right.
Isn't that weird?
Well, no, because I
It
felt a lot
comes
of guilt
together.
about not applying for things, too.
Oh, okay. I don't
So,
get that one.
I've missed a lot of deadlines because of whatever.
Oh, and then you're hard on yourself.
Yeah, hard on
Like,
yourself.
I should have. Why didn't I get that deadline? Why didn't I apply?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're feeling bad about your
Right. So it's like I can't even
Mm-hmm.
be rejected. I just never even gave them the opportunity to reject me. So there's that too. Brains.
brains. I love these topics. You should write a movie.
I have a movie in me. I was just talking about that.
Around the shame. Go to a place of shame. And right from there.
I got a
That'll
film
be
in me.
the good movie.
I got a film in me for sure.
Yeah.
But I'll need your help though.
Sure. I'll be your story editor.
So is there a work you're most proud of?
I think out of all the projects I've done, Night Blooms is one of the things I'm most proud of, for sure, because it's my first feature-length scripted work.
Mm-hmm.
It was really low budget and super scrappy, and like we came together, make just with not a lot of money to put something together that I think worked pretty well. And it's not a perfect movie, and I'll pick apart all these things I wish I had done differently, and I'm hard on myself in that way.
Sure.
But I am proud of a lot of it. Like, I'm proud of the performances. I'm proud of the little family we put together. You know, that in film, anyone out there who works in film knows that by the time you wrap, you feel like you're a family, you know.
Yeah.
And that, I feel like, as the director, I picked a lot of those people. And I did a good job. And I'm like, oh, I love my little family I put together. Like, that's a really heartwarming and, like, a really fulfilling thing to go through as a filmmaker. Yeah. And then at the end of it, I'm like, you know, it's not a bad movie. I mean, like I said, I want to reshoot it all and do everything differently.
Of course.
But considering it's my first time and we had a low budget, yeah, I think it was pretty good. And we won some awards. We won the Screen Nova Scotia Best Film Award that year that it came out.
Yeah.
One of the actors in it won the Best Acting Award that year.
I mean, that's pretty amazing.
Yeah, so that feels good.
So, yeah. And I mean, that's just part of the creative thing. Like, everything we put out, once we put it out, we're like, oh, shit.
Yeah. But again, isn't that good?
Yes.
If I put out something, I'm like, there's never been a movie better than the movie I put out.
Right.
It's perfect in every way.
That
Then
means
we
care.
probably wouldn't be good artists because then we would not try to be better.
Of course. Like,
Yeah.
you never like got it all figured out. Never.
Yeah.
It's always gonna be something you can do better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any routines, like if you're getting ready to do a film or?
Yeah. Can I actually name one other project? I want to.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Another project that I'm really proud of is the documentary series that just got released a few months ago called Women of This Land.
Okay.
And I'm really proud of that one. So that was an idea I had and pitched to CBC a few years ago, and it takes so long for this to happen. And then, a couple of years later, we're out shooting it.
Yeah.
And so I was one of the producers on it, and the writer and the director of all 4 episodes of the series.
Oh.
Yeah. So we, and it's a series about Indigenous women in Atlantic Canada. So 1 episode in each province of Atlantic Canada. We focus on 1 woman in each province, Indigenous woman, and how they connect to their community and how they connect to their culture. So it's 4 profile pieces, but they're beautiful, and I'm like really happy with how they turned out. And I got to meet these 4 amazing women, and got to share, Indigenous women's stories, and that one feels really good too.
Yes, and Rebecca's one of them, right?
No, that's a different project.
It's a different project?
So Shallon Jodrey is the Nova Scotia episode.
Oh, okay.
She won one of these awards a couple of years ago, I think.
Last year.
Last year.
Yeah.
Yes, you might have interviewed her. Did you?
No.
No? Okay.
Actually. Yeah.
Never mind. Yeah, so I think those are 2 projects that I feel particularly proud of.
Cool. That's great. So yeah, is there like a routine that you typically go through when you're about to like start a shoot or even documentary, whatever?
Yeah, well, it's different because I do make documentary films as well as scripted films, and
Yeah.
I do some commercial directing sometimes and music videos, so it changes for different projects. But I do really like prep. I mean, speaking of feeling like you're in control, I feel like I'm more in control and prepared when I've, done work before the day of shooting, right? So it's either talking to people that I'm going to interview if it's documentary, or having phone calls or lunches with the actors if they are acting in my movie, like just to get everybody comfortable. I think that's one of the things I prioritize the most. Because it's one thing to just go, like Women of This Land, for example.
Yeah.
It's a 4-part series. All of those 4 women are remarkable women. None of them are professional. Like, they're not like, I do interviews for a living. I mean, they have different things that they do for a living. So showing up and setting up cameras and lights sometimes can be intimidating to somebody. So I will try to go out of my way and talk a lot to them before day 1 of filming. And because I want them to trust me, and I want them to not be surprised about sometimes if you haven't been on camera very much before, it's like, how long will this take? How many lights are coming in? How many people are showing up? I have no idea what to expect. And then, so if you kind of talk through all this stuff with them, at least on day 1 when there's a bunch of cameras and lights in their face and crew, they'll at least know me because we've now spoken a bunch leading up to the day. And so I feel like that helps my documentary projects a lot.
Right. Human contact and making it more comfortable for them, sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, some people are just like, I don't care, put a camera on me, I'll talk all day. That's great.
Yeah.
But sometimes it feels like and they've agreed to be in the thing, so it's like they are kind enough to let me follow them around with a camera for a week. You know, like that's a lot to be okay to agree to.
Yeah.
So I want to be like, ooh. And then I get so nervous at the end that they don't like it. Like after the project, I'm so nervous. It's like, oh, here's your film I made about you. We shot for a week and I cut it down to 22 minutes.
Uh-huh.
So nervous. I haven't had any bad experiences so far, knock on wood. Everyone so far is like, I like how you portrayed me. I was like, oh my god. But I'm nervous that they're going to be like, what? You cut out this whole storyline about this, or you made me look ridiculous or something.
How do you do that? Like, how do you have all that footage and make it work? I have like an hour of like clips of the stupid stuff I shot, and I have struggled to narrate.
Yeah. Well, I have an editor that I work with, Amy, and she edits most of my stuff. If she's available, I always ask her to do it, and she's amazing. Because I think if I was sitting down and doing the physical editing too, it would be a lot.
Okay,
so I'll go through all the footage, pick clips, pick like scenes and ideas and stuff, and then give it to the editor, and the editor puts it together, and then we'll sit together with a few sessions. Yeah, that helps.
Do you say like, I want to tell this specific narrative?
Yeah, sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah. Sometimes it's like you go in with an idea for documentaries. It's like, this is the theme. Judging from the interview, the pre-interviews or the conversations I've had with them, here's the theme I think we should explore.
Yeah.
This is a really interesting thing that this woman's going through right now. This is how it connects to her, how she wants to grow in the future. Maybe we can go, and so that's there. But then of course with documentaries or interviews, like it's, you can go anywhere, and then afterward you end up with stuff you didn't expect.
True. So, you're Nova Scotia based. I mean, this type of work is, there's Hollywood, there's Toronto, there's all this other stuff. All these other places, these bigger markets that you could do this in. Like, how does creating and working in Nova Scotia impact your work?
I don't think I would want to live or work in another province. I mean, I love Canada, so this is where I want to stay. And I was born in Nova Scotia, so I feel more familiar with Nova Scotia. But I do think that we have a disproportionate amount of talented artists here. Like, 100%. I think we have a lot of artists. I don't know if it's some people are drawn here or people that are here see other artists and then that creates more artists. I don't know. I don't know what comes first. But I think we have a lot of talented musicians, a lot of talented, like, you name it, artists. Yeah. And that's a cool vibe I want to be around. Mm-hmm. Like, I just like being around people that are creating. Yeah. And then most people don't look at you weird when you find that someone finds out you're an artist. They're like, oh yeah, cool, me too.
Yeah.
Everyone is, And that kind of is a nice feeling.
Cool.
So, yeah, I like it here. And we have a lot of support. I mean, not to suck up, but Arts Nova Scotia is very supportive of its of our local arts community and Canada Council and all kinds of other different funding bodies that make it possible for us to be out here creating.
Cool. So what does this award mean to you then?
I'm trying to think of how deep to go. I like talking about deep things.
Go as deep as you need.
Winning this award is incredible. I was blown away when I found out. Mm-hmm. Did not expect this. And then that fun mix of emotions that come with that, like proud, flattered that people would think of me this way, also guilt. Do I really deserve this? Does someone deserve it more? And like all of those mix of things that make us human and make us feel like that's all. Like, what it means to me is the positive spin I can put on it. If I try to, I don't want to ignore the negative feelings because I know that those are there. Like, I feel guilty or I feel shame when I get things that are good because someone might deserve it more than me, blah, blah, blah. But also the positive spin I can put on it is, well, Steph, this means you're part of a community. Yeah. People recognize that you are working as an artist, in the community. Mm-hmm. And that feels good. Yes. I mean, doesn't it feels good to be... It feels great. And it's not like about being better or worse. It's not like you're the best artist and that person is not as good as you and next year the person that wins is better. And it's not even about the ego stuff. Mm. It's like I'm considered an artist in the community, and I'm considered well enough, good enough in that field to be recognized, and that's, I mean, that does feel pretty good.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
And well deserved, for sure. So we're about to end it out, but is there anything else we didn't cover that maybe you want to talk about?
I mean, I do love talking about the guilt imposter syndrome part. Psychologically, it's interesting because what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get ahead of the thing that I fear people will say. I mean, I don't care about what people think, but I want people to know I'm grateful. I want people to know that I work hard. I also want people to know that I feel guilty.
Yes.
Isn't that like, why don't I just keep that part to myself? But I guess like, you know, again, we already talked about this. We don't have to talk about it again.
Well, I mean, so like we
do
kind
I
of
really deserve it? Does someone deserve it more than me?
yeah.
And also, this happens with women more, people of color more. It's like this self-deprecating thing, and I'm trying to stop doing that.
Same.
Yeah, actually, yeah. I'll say that in case that works for the interview. On the journey, where I am in my journey right now with like my personal and my like emotional, mental health is like I feel like instinct is to be self-deprecating and go, oh no, I don't deserve that. Someone deserves it more than me. Da 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 da. And then what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to like have these antidote thoughts to that, like someone deserves you deserve. Why not? Why not you? Like why don't you deserve something as much as anyone else does? Or somebody thinks you're worthy of this award, you should feel like, why don't you feel, you should feel worthy of that award. So it's a journey, but I'm definitely trying to go into a more like healthy place with these things. And so like with that in mind, I want to say how grateful I am, and I want to say how touching it feels to be included in this community in Nova Scotia, in the arts community, and to be recognized by people who decided I'm worthy of that.
Yes.
That feels really nice.
Yeah.
One more thing that I didn't talk about is I didn't talk about my Indigenous roots.
Okay.
So I was born here in Nova Scotia, but my mother is my Indigenous parent. My mother is Inuit from Labrador, so my family are Inuit. And I grew up very aware of my Indigenous culture and learned how to do beadwork and all that stuff from like the youngest age. So I feel very in touch with my roots. But also being in Nova Scotia, where most of the Indigenous people I interact with and meet are Mi'kmaq, so there's also it's good and bad, right? Sometimes you feel a little bit of imposter syndrome, like, oh, I'm Inuk from Labrador, but I'm here in Nova Scotia, and then a lot of the local Indigenous backgrounds that people have are Mi'kmaq, so then you feel a little bit different from them. But also, it also can be a pretty beautiful thing too, because then you learn about each other's cultures. So that I'm putting a positive spin on that too, because I'm like, oh, rather than another reason to feel imposter syndrome, isn't this another way to connect and like learn about each other?
No, 100% actually. So we've had previous Indigenous award winners say that like when they connect with people from different parts, say the U.S. even or out west or whatever, like they might even embrace certain traditions from those particular communities, and then it might become a part of their, because they don't feel like a sense of ownership or something, and it's like we're all a bigger community together, I guess.
Yeah, I feel that very much in the Indigenous communities that I've interacted with. Is we're all in this together. It's less about like I'm from here and you're from there, and it's more like let's all share and help each other.
100%.
It's nice.
Yeah. And I wouldn't want you to feel any imposter syndrome.
No, but I did want to mention that too, because I don't know, I think that's an important part of my story, is the Inuit family from Labrador, which is like most people around here assume, oh, you're Indigenous, and they just assume Mi'kmaq. That happens all the time. It's not offensive or anything, but I believe my family, like my mother and aunts and uncles who moved here, I think one of the only like Inuit families around. Like it's rare to
Amazing.
see another Inuk person in Nova Scotia. So I do like, you know, I think that's an interesting part of it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Stephanie, it's the second time you've been on the Art Pays Me podcast.
Mhm.
So like, I feel like we became buds after the first time. So it's great to see you again. As like, it's always a pleasure. And
Thank you
for welcoming us into your space. It's like very, very like, I'm inspired. Like the posters, the plants, all of the stuff. Like you're, yeah, it's a beautiful space. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
Thank you for listening to Art Pays Me. Hit me up on socials at Art Pays Me pretty much everywhere and let me know what you think. I love connecting with listeners. If you're an artist looking for clothes that speak to the creative lifestyle, check out artpaysme.com. And don't forget, visit artsns.ca for more information about the Creative Nova Scotia Awards. Peace.
Poignant.